Hello everyone, and today we're back into another top 5, and today we're talking about the top 5 plant types in all of Loomian Legacy. And kind of crazily, there are actually not as many OP plant types compared to fire types, but despite that, there's still quite few of them which are really overpowered. So yeah, let's get right onto this top 5 right now. So number 5 on this list is actually going to be interesting because it's going to be Whipple Drift. And Whipple Drift can be very good in some certain situations. I mean, it's a solid bequeath user. I do think Terracino is a little better, but it is a solid bequeath user. Solid coverage, hits solidly hard, has solid melee defense. It pretty much has solid everything, apart from attacks. It doesn't have any good attacks. Despite that, though, everything else about it is solid. Whipple Drift is a solid Loomian. But like I said, plant types aren't necessarily the strongest at this point of the game. But even then, Whipple Drift can do some damage and can sweep with Magnify and Glide. With the Glide ability, Whipple Drift can sweep if you're not careful. And this thing can cause a lot of problems. Well, the reason why it's number 5 and not higher, it's quad weak to Icicle Traps. So yeah, Icicle Traps are a nightmare. Also, it's just ice moves in general, and a lot of stuff has ice coverage. So yeah, and since it's a plant type, which is pretty much all the plant types on the list, it's also weak to dark, which, doesn't really help out Whipple Drift as much. But at least it does have solid melee defense, so you could run Rageful Plushie, I guess, but Terracino is just the better Rageful Plushie user in the long run. So, yeah, Whipple Drift, number 5 on this list. And it's a very solid number 5, too. Like, it's a very, very solid number 5 plant type in all of Loomian Legacy. So, number 4 on this list will actually be Nevermind. Now, you're shocked that Nevermind is not in the top 3. Let's talk about the pros. It hits pretty hard, has an ability that causes it to crit 50% of the time, has 111 speed, great range bulk, amazing range bulk. Melee is meh, but it happens. And it can nullify that after you get a couple bulk ups. So, Nevermind is really scary. I mean, Nevermind could be in the top 3. There is one, and there's only one particular reason why Nevermind is not number 3 or number 2 onto this list. The big reason is Nevermind just doesn't hit hard enough without the crit. It needs the crit and the bulk up in order to do massive damage. Like, if you don't get the crit, it does less than Vesperatu. And even if you do get the crit, that does just as much as a Vesperatu's Phantom Slash. So, and even though Nevermind has amazing coverage, it's just sometimes it's just unreliable because you need the crit in order for it to do massive damage. There's no doubt about it. It's still a great Loomian. Very fast speed, very amazing coverage. I mean, Plant Ancient Spirit is awesome coverage for a Spirit type, while also being great coverage for a Plant type as well. And it's also immune to light, and it's one of the few Plant types which are not weak to dark, which definitely gives Nevermind a massive advantage compared to other Plant types. But like I said, the reason why it is out of the top 3 is because, as you can see, that was after a couple setups and it did not one-shot the Munch Wheel. I think that just shows that Nevermind really needs to crit in order to do some massive damage. And that's why Nevermind is in the number 4 slot. So number 3 onto this list will actually be Colosotrops. Now, people might be shocked that Colosotrops is this high, but there's actually a few different sets you can run on this thing, and that's the reason it is in the top 3. It has 124 melee attack, amazing melee bulk, and has amazing coverage. Grass, Ancient, and Earth is really good coverage, just like with Nevermind. But it's when you combine Frail Armor and Rageful Plushie together. And that's when Colosotrops gets scary. When you combine Frail Armor and Rageful Plushie, this thing can become the ultimate sweeper. This thing is extremely scary. And once you get that speed boost and also the melee attack boost, this thing can become a straight up sweeper. You can also run Vigorous, which is also very good on it, but I would recommend a health gift user to fully utilize it because its range defense is rather poor, and that's the reason why it isn't higher despite all this potential. Despite that, though, Colosotrops is still one of the scariest Loomians in the game, and that's why it's in the top 3 over Nevermind. So, yeah, Colosotrops being in the number 3 slot. So, yeah, number 2 onto this list is actually going to be the biggest jump. It's Tata. And we all know why Tata is in the top 3. It got Timber Thrash. I don't know what Jamie thought about giving Timber Thrash to Tata this early into the game, considering he has 126 attack with Awakening, with 104 speed. I question that move, because Tata has now become one of the best plant types in the entire game because of it. And one of the fastest Loomians, because it's one of the viable past Loomians to use specialty boots. And since this thing hits hard, Grass Brawler is amazingly offense. It's amazing offensively. And since Tata hits so hard, this can pretty much hit anything in the entire game. You heard that. Anything in the entire game this thing can nuke. The only way to properly beat Tata is with priority moves. With, like, if you have, like, a Vesperatu or a Windland, or something like a Snagoop or a Harvest Sack that can hard counter it. That's really it. This thing can hit pretty much anything in the game, and that's why Tata is in the top 3. As well as number 2. And man, Tata almost got number 1, but I think number 1 is the best plant type in all of Loomian Legacy, both offensively and defensively. So the best plant type in all of Loomian Legacy is Chartiki. Now, you may be shocked that Chartiki is above Tata, but there's a few reasons why. Has amazing health and energy. Its bulk is in the middle, has a pretty solid range attack, so it hits pretty hard. Has fire, toxic, and grass offensively, which is awesome. And it can also be a very good barter. It's a very good barter user with Volcanic Ashes to mess up melee attackers. It also has a healing move with Photosynthesis. It's one of the few plant types on this list that actually have a healing move, which is nice. And it hard counters a lot of the meta. It counters Protogon. It can counter a bunch of other stuff too. Eliguanas can't do anything to you. And just a bunch of Loomians in general that doesn't do so much against you. A lot of the plant type's weaknesses gets counteracted by the fire type. And a lot of the fire type's weaknesses get counteracted by the plant type. And that's why Chartiki is the best plant type in the game. It's because it's good at everything. It can be good as an offensive Loomian. It can be good as a defensive Loomian. It can be good as a tech Loomian with Volcanic Ashes. It's pretty much good at everything. And that's why Chartiki is good. That's why it is the best plant type in Loomian Legacy. And also has burn up on top of that, so we can actually get rid of barbs as well. Yep, it's also a barb setter. Yeah, Chartiki does a bit of everything. And it does a bit of everything well. And that's why Chartiki is the best plant type in the entirety of Loomian Legacy. So here it is, Chartiki. Probably the best plant type in all of Loomian Legacy. I hope you guys enjoyed this top 5, and remember, there are a lot of other plant types which are pretty solid, so if your favorite plant type is not on the list, it's unfortunate, but you know, it's how it goes. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all all later. Bye-bye!